After beating the Bengals 20-17 in the wild card round, the Denver Broncos are ready for more. We're set for another home game in the divisional round, and we're going to be playing against a team who we know fairly well. We've already seen them twice this year, and they've got some guys on their squad who we know very, very well. Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, and the Las Vegas Raiders are headed to Denver for the second round of the playoffs between the Raiders and the Broncos, with a spot in the AFC Championship on the line for the winner. Man, I'm excited about this matchup. We've seen Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal continue to grow since their impressive senior seasons at Kansas, and now here they are in the NFL playoffs for the first time, and we've got to stop them from making it to the AFC Championship. This AFC West has been so competitive. All three of us, the Raiders and the Chiefs, are super battle-tested. A big reason why we all won in the first round, including a 31-point blowout win for Kansas City on the road in Baltimore against the Ravens. As for us, we of course beat the Bengals 20-17 in a low-scoring defensive battle. We're facing off against a team who we already beat earlier in the year. The Bengals have one of the highest-scoring offenses in the league, but their offense struggled both times against us. Granted, it certainly was not Joe Burrow's fault. He played quite well. Meanwhile, Bo Nix was the point guard, essentially. Not a ton of big throws, but we didn't need him to be Superman. We needed him to be efficient and consistent. He got a little lucky with some dropped interceptions, though, but otherwise he played well. The run game was quite good. We finally got to see the healthy duo of Ashton Jeanty and Travion Henderson. Jeanty, of course, hasn't played since the last time we saw the Bengals. Marvin Mims led the way through the air for us. Jermaine Burton was really good for Cincinnati, but T. Higgins only had 2 catches. And Jamar Chase, prior to his Cancun vacation, was on Sertan Island this week. Our defense has obviously had some ups and downs this year, as we know, but we played really well against the Bengals twice. Michael Williams was the best player on the field. He had 3.5 sacks. Nick Benito, of course, with the game-winning sack on a 4th down late in the game. As for the NFC, the Bears end up beating Carolina. The NFC North was certainly a weird division this year, but both teams ended up winning as the Lions wound up beating the Eagles. If that happened in real life, I would be insufferable. While Seattle beat the Giants, Avery Johnson and MJ Morris facing off against each other. So both Jalen Daniels and Avery Johnson, interestingly, win playoff games. Players of the week, Jared Goff, love to see it. Patrick Mahomes, Shamar James, and Donovan Ezeraku, not Michael Williams. The two of them had essentially identical stats, but it's going to be Ezeraku instead. And that brings us to this matchup here against the Raiders. And of course, as we know, this division was super tight until the very end, finishing with a 3-way tie. And of course, us, the Raiders, and the Chiefs all split with each other throughout the season. The home team won each of those matchups, and that may very well be the key, because these 3 teams are all better at home than on the road, especially in the case of us. We're 8-0 at home, 9-0 if you count the win against Cincinnati in the wild card round, but we're only 3-6 on the road. Clearly, we have a major home field advantage playing in Denver. The altitude, the fans, all of that clearly impacts the road team. And it's easy to see the difference of how we played, especially defensively, from the road matchup in Week 6 compared to the home matchup later in the year. On the road, we lost 43-40. Bo Nix had one of the best games of his career, and we still lost because Jalen Daniels threw for 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was unstoppable. I had never seen anything like it at the quarterback position, I guess until Patrick Mahomes later in the year. I don't know why Travion Henderson's here. He was not on our team during this game. The entire defense, I wish, was not on our team because Devontae Smith was uncoverable. Jaden Higgins scored 3 touchdowns. And then Ricky Pearsall, the third receiver, only had 6 catches for 125 yards. It was a complete disaster on defense. We could not cover my grandmother if she was out there running routes. But then we look at the second matchup against the Raiders, and the defense looked entirely different. This was one of those games where the defense just completely forgets how to play football. But then our matchup against the Raiders later in the year was probably our best defensive performance of the entire season. Jalen Daniels has only had one bad game all year, and it was this one. 31-7, we blew them out. The only touchdown the Raiders scored in the fourth quarter was against our backups, and they started that drive, I'm pretty sure, on our 2-yard line. after a turnover, so they really didn't earn the 7 points. Bo Nix was really solid, while Jalen Daniels, again, had the only bad game of his entire season. The thing that was so remarkable about Daniels from his first 2 years to now is how consistent he was, but yet he laid this absolute stinker. The Raiders couldn't really run the ball in the second half because they were down by so much. It's unfortunate because Devin Neal had a pretty good game. Trevion Henderson, this was, I believe, his first full game as the starter. He didn't even lead the team in carries. We were up by so much that Harrison Whaley led the way in the second half. It was a strong effort offensively, and obviously the defense, at least the starters, were terrific. It was night and day from the Week 6 matchup to this game later in the season at home. I certainly do not expect the defense to play this well. We are playing against one of the best offenses in the NFL, but being at home clearly has been a major advantage for us all year, and hopefully we can capitalize on that. The Raiders were a little up and down after that, but the offense has played really well over the last 6 weeks of the regular season. They left the year on a 2-game win streak, and then that brought us to the first round of the playoffs against the Titans. Another young team with a young quarterback, the first career NFL playoff games for both Jalen Daniels and Alex Orji. And Daniels was clearly the better of the two, 79% completion percentage to 51 for Orji, who was intercepted 3 times. Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal got revenge for the national championship in Season 1 of the Kansas Dynasty, where Alex Orji and Michigan ended up beating Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, and the Kansas Jayhawks in another low-scoring game. I'm pretty sure 17-10 was the final. It was kind of similar for Daniels in both matchups because he only scored 10 points in the national championship loss. His team only scored 19 here, and that was in overtime. Yet he individually played quite well. Now, I think the Raiders are going to need to score more than 19, though, with how solid our offense has been over the course of the year. Of course, as we know, though, it's going to be a major challenge. Jalen Daniels has become one of the very best quarterbacks in the NFL. His development throughout this series was really fun to watch because after year 1, I was very concerned that he was going to end up being a colossal bust. But last year, he started to play a little bit better as the year went along. Kind of Bryce Young-esque from year 1 to year 2. And then this year, he absolutely exploded onto the scene. And that's along with being a major rushing threat. Daniels has been so consistent throughout the year. His best game, obviously, in Week 6 against us. And his only bad game of the entire year was the Week 12 loss. So if Daniels' 18 starts this year, his best game was against the Broncos and his worst game was against the Broncos. So it'll be interesting to see where he finishes today. Of course, they have a very strong run game. His former college teammate, Devin Neal, who is a 97 overall. He has progressed very quickly. He is already, I believe, the second or third ranked running back in the league. Yes, second. I would assume only behind probably Bijan Robinson. Despite being this highly rated, he never really has put it all together. He's been a good player with the Raiders, but not a great player, although he was very good in the win against the Titans. The receiving core, though, is special. Devontae Smith, Jaden Higgins, Rizzy Pearsall is the big three. Smitty's going to be the guy to watch here, though, after winning the AFC Offensive Player of the Year. Jalen Daniels is most comfortable when he is a great slot receiver. We saw that at Kansas with Luke Grimm. And then Devontae Smith, 134 for 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns. What a great trade this has turned out to be for the Las Vegas Raiders. It doesn't show it there, but he did win the Offensive Player of the Year. And that's not to mention, they have Brock Bowers at tight end. The defense is quite solid, led by the AFC's Defensive Player of the Year and Max Crosby. The offensive line is one of the stronger units in the league. They've drafted well, guys like Miles Hinton and Emil Wagner. The defense is kind of the question with these guys, though. They've got some good players outside of Crosby. Avion Terrell has developed really well, but they don't have a consistent unit, and if we win this game, it's going to be because our offense is able to take advantage of that weakness. Both teams are fully healthy going into this game, so it really is may the best man win. And our team has not been healthy throughout the course of the year, but we have gotten everybody back at the right time. Very rarely have all of our skill position players been healthy at the same time. It feels like at least one of Ashton Jeanty or Marvin Mims and maybe Tez Johnson is always hurt, but everybody is healthy for both sides. We'll see who is headed to the AFC Championship to face off against either Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills or Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Denver Broncos with a second home game and possibly their last if the Bills end up winning. We'll see if we can make it to the AFC Championship for the first time in this series. The divisional round has been our kryptonite. We've made it and lost in the second round 2 years in a row, and we're hoping that's not going to be the case again. Here comes Las Vegas on the return. This one will go to the 25 as we take a look at the former Kansas Jayhawk, Jalen Daniels, who started his career as one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and now here nearing the conclusion of his third season, he has become one of the best. 4,300 yards, 42 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and of course his first NFL playoff win in a 19-16 slugfest on the road against the Titans. Play action under pressure, a sack to get us started. Nick Bonito, who finished the wild card round with a sack, is there along with Aleem the Dream McNeil. 3rd and 17, they're just going to run the ball. Devin Neal breaks the tackle. He only gets 5. Drew Sanders and Jeffrey Bossa, the dynamic duo, brings him down. I guess the Raiders wanted to catch us off guard there. I don't know what the thought process is running the ball at that spot, as that will bring out the punt team. Tez Johnson missed most of the wild card round with an injury. Breaks a tackle. Gets by the second level. Past the 50. And he gets it to the 44. What a return by Tez Johnson. As we take a look at the Bronco offense, Bo Nix 3-2 in his playoff career. He was good, but not great in the wild card win against Cincinnati. And I would say that's been pretty common throughout his playoff career. He's been good. He hasn't really been a liability in our losses, but we haven't really seen him take that superstar ascension, per se. From the 44, Genty up the middle, plenty of room. Whoop! Juke move, that's a first down to the 33. I was super impressed with Genty in the win against Cincinnati. He looked really healthy. He looked really good. It was easily one of his best games of the year. 2nd and 3. We'll go back to Genty. Tries to bounce himself off of Harold Fannin. He loses 5. Max Crosby brings him down. Holding on the offense. So the Raiders are going to have a decision to make. Do you go with the yardage or do you go with the downs? And they would ultimately go with the downs. Although we would make up the yardage. After a gain of 7 from Harold Fannin, it's 3rd and 6. Trevion Henderson in the backfield for the Broncos now. Nix surveys the field, lofts it up for Marvin Mims inside the 10 to the 3. A gain of 25 yards for marvelous Marvin Mims. And the Broncos are marching on the doorstep of the end zone. We'll see if they can punch it in and strike first. Just under 4 minutes into the game. 1st and goal, play action. Nix rolls to the left side, looks to scramble. He's got room, and it's Bo Nix in for the first touchdown of the game. A picture-perfect start on both sides of the ball for the Broncos. A 3-and-out defensively where the Raiders got negative yards, and then really good field position leading to a touchdown to make it 7-0. And now the Raiders got to get going. 2nd and 10. Devin Neal up the middle trying to truck his way through traffic, and he gets the first down. Devin Neal's a guy who can run between the tackles. In this series, at least, he's a big play threat as well as he gets it to the outside and is smothered by Jeffrey Bossa. There's going to be a penalty, though, and again, we've got a decision to make. Do we want the yardage or the downs? And we're going to take the yardage. Iopani La'ulu, the former Oregon Duck, is called with the flag. A couple of former Oregon guys on this line with him and Jackson Powers Johnson, as the Raiders make up the yardage from the penalty. That's Ricky Pearsall, acquired in the offseason from the 49ers. He gets 14 yards, and it's 3rd and 6. Jaden Higgins is now in motion, the big-bodied receiver, as the screen is incomplete. Aleem McNeil with the pressure. I think Devin Neal would have gotten the first down had the throw not been tampered with because of the pressure from McNeil. Genty gets it up the middle, breaks a tackle, is spaced to the left side. There he goes, breaks by Terrell, and gains 31 yards. 2 carries, 43 yards. Not a bad start for Ashton Genty, who did not play in the second meeting between these two teams in the big home victory for the Broncos back in Week 12. 2nd and 10, here's Harold Fannin with room, wrapped up by Tremaine Edmonds, but he gets the first down to the 40-yard line. Denver's offense moving it well, and unlike the previous possession, we started behind the 20-yard line this time. We did not start with good field position. 2nd and 20. Nix goes short. He's got Tez Johnson with a juke move, making up the yardage from a holding call, and he tumbles all the way to the 32 for a gain of 18 as he's a little bit banged up on the play. That is not good news. He missed the second half of the win against the Bengals with an injury, and now he's hurt again. I think they're looking at a bruised sternum with him. So not a long-term injury, but his day likely over. 3rd and 2. Nix scrambles to the right. On the run. He's got his man, Marvin Mims, to the 13-yard line. What a throw by Bo under pressure. Mims able to keep the feet in. 2nd and 7, RPO. Mims, juke move, pushed into the end zone for a touchdown. Broncos country, we're riding. 14-0 lead for Denver. A phenomenal first quarter for the Broncos, who have looked dominant on both sides of the ball. 8 minutes in, and this is quickly getting ugly for the Raiders. They've got to get something going. They've got to score here. Daniels up the middle, nearly intercepted. Jeffrey Bossa had a drop or two last week, and he drops another one. Could have been a catastrophic play for Vegas. 3rd and 8. Daniels rolls out under pressure. Hit as he throws by Benito, and he throws it away. Benito's played well so far against the right tackle, Emil Wagner, a national champion at the University of Notre Dame. Both of these tackles, national champions, with Miles Hinton, the left tackle on that Michigan team who beat us. Trevion Henderson on 1st down, fumbles the ball! And it's picked up by the Raiders. There's the break Las Vegas needed. Tommy Eichenberg recovers the football for Las Vegas. The Raiders needed a big play. They needed a spark, and they get it. It's Avion Terrell, the cornerback who we could have drafted and passed on for Colin Wright high in the 1st round, with maybe the biggest defensive play of this season for the Raiders. They needed a turnover and good field position badly. But unfortunately for them, I'm not so sure it's going to stick. We're going to have to look at this one again as the booth reviews it. Right there, he is down. This is not a fumble. A massive break for the Denver Broncos. You can see he still has the ball as his left knee hits the ground, and it gets jarred out, not because of the hit by Terrell, but the contact with the turf. 3rd and inches now. Genty gets it to the left side, and he does not get it. So the Raiders do get the stop at the very least. Strong way to end the drive. It's Kavian Gaither, who had an interception last week. Sam Houston State. That'll wrap up the first quarter. It has been all Denver. A 14-0 lead for the Broncos. Foreseeing the inexperience with this Raiders team, this is the first time that this group has been in the playoffs. Whereas for the Broncos, we've been in the divisional round. We've lost in this game, and I'd like to think we know what it takes to win. As Devontae Smith gets into the 47, the AFC's Offensive Player of the Year, and likely the overall Offensive Player of the Year, I would have to think. Biggest play of the game so far for the Raiders. 3rd and 8, Daniels looks to throw it up the middle. It's caught. Jaden Higgins lays out for it. Higgins in the first meeting between these teams had 4 catches. 3 of them ended up in the end zone, as that one is caught again. Jaden Higgins absorbs a big hit by Colin Wright. Now all of a sudden, Las Vegas has something going. They've got it at the 20. Daniels under pressure on the run. He is sacked. It's Jack Sawyer. I believe his first sack as a Denver Bronco. Has not made as big of an impact as our other trade deadline acquisition, Trey Henderson. And there's another sack. The rookie, Damon Clowney, brings down Daniels, who is hurt on the play. As if this game could get any worse for the Raiders, Luke Altmyer, the day 3 draft pick out of the University of Illinois, is in at quarterback. As he launches it for the end zone, it's nearly intercepted. Marvin Grant should have come down with that one, and the Raiders are going to bring the field goal team here on 4th and 21. It is a 48-yard try. What are they doing? The offense is on the field. They're going for it. Altmyer broken up in the secondary. What was the thought process there? You can go for a 48-yard field goal or go for a 4th and 21 with a backup quarterback in the game. They must have no faith in their kicker, clearly. Regardless, that is one of the most boneheaded decisions I have ever seen. Still 14-0. Henderson fighting for yardage on 3rd down, and he does get it, keeping the chains moving for the Broncos. 3rd and 4th of 47, a little over halfway through the second quarter. Bo Nix and empty, 5 wide. Nix looks to throw it, scrambles to the right. He's got plenty of room, runs for the first down, gets a late block by Trey Henderson, and he brings it to the 43. I don't love him taking a hit there. Bo Nix got injured, I think it was last year against the Raiders. He ended up missing most of that game. And obviously, the last thing we need is for him to get hurt in the playoffs. 2nd and 9. Under pressure, he is sacked. What the blitz. Tremaine Edmonds brings him down. If nothing else for the Raiders, their defense is playing better. From the first quarter to the second, they're keeping the lead at 14. 3rd down and long. Nix looking deep. He's got Brazzle. 1st down. Chris Brazzle with a little razzle-dazzle to the 28 on the comebacker as he's able to come back perfectly, fooling Avion Terrell, the unstar. 3rd and 6 at the 24 now for Denver. We've got it in field goal range. It's a delayed handoff. Henderson follows his blockers, gets the 1st down to the 14 for a gain of 10. I mean, I cannot believe what I'm watching. This has been a carbon copy and paste of the Week 12 matchup between these teams, and now here in the playoffs. 14-0 lead for Denver. We haven't scored in the second quarter yet, but we're in the red zone. It's just a matter of if it's a field goal or a touchdown. 3rd down and 14 for the Broncos at the 18. We're taking our time, although the game clock isn't on. It's at 1:12. Nix looks to throw it. He's going to scramble to the right, surveying the field. Nobody's open, looking for the other side. It's caught! Harold Fannin Jr. with the touchdown. Domination in Denver. Bo Nix, he is Houdini. His 3rd all-purpose touchdown in the first half. Major props to the offensive line there. Last year, they would not have given Bo that much time to throw it. The Raiders secondary had our receivers covered for like 10 seconds. You cannot put that on them. Somebody's got to get home to Nix. And this has turned ugly for the Raiders on 3rd and long. They're just going to run the ball. We're going to call time and hope that we can maybe score again before halftime. I get it's not looking good for the Raiders, but being down 21-0, I don't like that they just ran the ball there. We're going to start at the 36. We've got time. We could easily add another field goal, maybe even a touchdown. Who knows? Nix looking for the sideline. It is dropped. Man, you've got to catch that. Chris Brazzle was open. That should be a catch 100 times out of 100, and that might cost us some points. 2nd and 10, Denver with 2 timeouts to their disposal. Nix under some pressure now, looking deep, and Fannin drops it! Now, to be fair, that one was more so because of the defense, but that was a perfect throw on the money by Bo Nix. 3rd and 10, Nix scrambles under pressure. He is sacked. The Raiders make the play. Demetrius Hardeman with the sack. Las Vegas calls time. Now, they only have 14 seconds. I can't say I like their chances to score, but I guess they're going to try. Play action. Jalen Daniels misfires severely. Grant maybe could have had a chance to make a play on that ball, but it really has not been Jalen Daniels' day in this one. 2nd and 10. Daniels goes short. It is caught. That one goes for a gain of around 8, and they're going to call it timeout. 3rd and 2 with 4 seconds left. The defense is in full prevent as Daniels looks to throw it. I was maybe thinking he would go short before the end of the half. He did go short, but he took too long to throw it. And the Raiders at the 45 are not going to have enough time for another play, and that'll do it for the first half. Mile High Mayhem. It has been all Denver, 21-0. And we start with the ball in the second half as well. This game has been ugly. So, of course, the winner will play against either the Bills or the Chiefs. If the Bills win, the AFC Championship game will be in Buffalo. If the Chiefs win, then that would be crazy. Well, the AFC West. The championship game would be at the home stadium of the winner of this game. At this point, most likely Denver, but it is the NFL playoffs. Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal, we've seen them make some crazy comebacks before. They were down by 18 with 4 minutes to go against Houston and won. Now, granted, Houston won like 3 games that year, and well, we are certainly not the Houston Cougars. We are the Denver Broncos. So we're going to focus on stopping the pass on an offense. I would expect we're going to run the ball a whole lot, given that we obviously had the lead. We want to be smart with the clock. We'll see if we can add to the lead up 21-0. Another touchdown or two would really put us in a good spot, if not already. 3rd and 8 from the 31. We're going to run the ball. Trevion Henderson with plenty of room. Juke move, 1st down, spin move. Henderson, look at him go. He will not be brought down. All the way to the 45-yard line. Some ridiculous maneuvers there by Trey Henderson, who stays in the game here on 3rd and 7. It's a play action. Nix hit, lobs it up, and it is incomplete for Mims, who was double covered. Good work by KV and Gaither, and the Raiders do get the stop. They'll get it back, looking for any kind of scoring. They have been shut out in the first half, much like the first half of the meeting back in Week 12. Devin Neal gets the conversion before getting decked by Bossa. Following play for the Raiders at the 30. They are going to go with an RPO. It is caught. Ricky Pearsall gets away from the defense. Bossa doesn't bring him down. And Marvin Grant catches up at the 47. The Raiders might finally get it by midfield. I think they only have once today, which was where they went for the boneheaded 4th down decision. Daniels goes short. It is caught. Nice play after the catch, and it will go for a 1st down. It's Jalen Warren to the 43. Daniels is fired up, trying to keep his team's morale high. Devin Neal to the outside, trying to break some tackles. I don't know why he ran into Pearsall. He had space to the left. He could have gone. He had space to the right. Not a great decision by Neal, but he does get the 1st down. 3rd and 6. Daniels looks to throw it under pressure. Fumble! B.J. Ojulari forces and recovers it for the Broncos. And they'll get it back at the 25. The Raiders were in position to finally score, but Ojulari has other plans. Coming from behind, surprising Daniels with the strip sack, and that is very clearly a fumble. No need to really look at this one twice. What a play by Ojulari. Everybody's getting involved. Ojulari, Sawyer, and Clowney, all with sacks in this game. Who would have thought? Even with Michael Williams and Baron Browning being quiet, those guys have all really stepped up, along with great games by Aleem McNeil and Nick Bonito. Genty was a little dinged up. He's back in, and he gets it on 1st down. Whoop! Juke move. Genty to the outside. Nobody's in front of him. Can he take it all the way? Inside the 20 to the 14. A gain of 60 yards for Ashton Genty. His longest run of the year, as he has some words with VJ Payne, the former Kansas State Wildcat. Genty's 2nd longest run of his career. His longest, ironically, was against the Raiders from the 14. Nix. He will connect in the end zone for a touchdown. It's Travion Henderson who runs a really good route. Great throw by Nix. And it is 28-0. A 2-play, 75-yard drive for the Broncos, who are up by 4 touchdowns here in the 3rd quarter. I cannot believe this. It has been domination from Denver from the start. Daniels will go short. Devontae Smith to the 44. Smith had his way with his former Alabama teammate Pat Surtain back in Week 6. The most recent 2 meetings with these teams, not so much. 3rd and 3 at the 50, under a minute to go here in the 3rd for Las Vegas. Daniels up the middle. That is a 1st down for Jaden Higgins to the 43, and that's going to wrap up the 3rd. I don't think we're looking at a very climactic 4th quarter. The Broncos, 10 minutes away from the AFC Championship. It's a 28-0 lead. Imagine telling someone after the first meeting between these two teams when the Raiders scored 43. Imagine telling them that these two teams would play twice more this year and the Raiders offense would score 0 points against Denver's starting defense. That's mind-blowing. Another 1st down, though, for Las Vegas. They have it at the 28. They're starting to move the ball pretty well here on this drive. As Devin Neal gets the play action under pressure, Nick Bonito untouched. 5th sack of the game for the Denver defense. The pass rush was rough at the end of the regular season, but they have been great through 2 playoff games this year. That's the biggest reason why our defense has been impressive. 3rd and 12, it is dropped. Marvin Grant nearly intercepts his former college teammate. What is with all the drop picks? I mean, these guys are not coming down with anything in either playoff game. 4th and 12, the Raiders are going to go for it this time. It makes a little more sense. As it is caught for a 1st down. Nice grab by Higgins before taking a big hit by Surtain, but he holds on to the ball. And the Raiders have it in the red zone for the first time all evening at the 16. Daniels up the middle. Pearsall, juke move to the 1. I thought he might have been in. The Raiders now inching closer and closer to the goal line as they look to, at the very least, end the shutout. 1st and goal at around the half-yard line. Pitch to the outside. Neal gets a block. Tries to jump his way in, and he cannot. Drew Sanders brings him down. Denver 8th in the NFL in takeaways. Only 1 today. We have not relied on the turnovers through the playoffs, and I think that shows that our defensive performance is sustainable. We haven't needed turnovers. We've just been good. as Devin Neal loses 5 on the pitch. That was Pat Surtain who brought him down. 3rd and goal now at the 6. Daniels alone in the backfield, looks to throw it under pressure. It is caught for a touchdown. The Jayhawk connection will strike. It's Devin Neal with the score, and the Raiders finally are on the board. It took 3.5 quarters. Looks like they're still having fun. I mean, good for you guys. You're down by 21 against the division rival in the playoffs. But okay, as long as you're having fun and enjoying yourselves. So Denver's going to get it back. We're up by 21 points, and the goal is to try to limit the amount of time the Raiders can get with the ball the rest of the way. Zamir White, the former Raider, rams through defenders, and he gets 10. How did he do that? We haven't really needed White or Whaley at all, given that Genty and Trey Henderson are both healthy. Under 4 minutes to go, 3rd and 4. Henderson, juke move, does not get it. Nice tackle by Vegas. I'll be honest, I really thought about going for it here, 4th and 1, try to end the game. But I was like, we're up by 21. We can't do something stupid. Raiders back with it. Daniels under pressure. Rolls out. Launches a bomb, and it is incomplete. Broken up by Javon McIntyre. I've never seen Jalen Daniels throw a ball that far. That was like 70 yards. He has one of the lowest throw power ratings among starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Daniels has his man. That should have been intercepted. It looked like Savon Revel played the ball. He probably shouldn't have, as Jacoby Myers makes the catch. That'll bring us to the 2-minute warning here in the 4th. The Broncos 2 minutes away from finally making it out of the second round of the playoffs. At the 46, big hit. It's a loss of yardage on 1st down. Patrick Surtain has been flying around the ball. He's kept Devontae Smith unimpactful, who's been the best receiver in the NFL this year. 2nd and 11. Jalen Daniels has all the time in the world to throw it. Gotta get there. Finally, it's Benito, who's had his best game of the year. Benito had a down season, but he has saved it for the playoffs. 3rd down. It's caught. It's a gain of 20. For Ricky Pearsall, J.L. Skinner brings him down. 4th and 1. Just over a minute left. Daniels up the middle. Broken up. Boom! What a hit by marvelous Marvin Grant. Jeffrey Bossa lost a step in coverage there. It was not a great rep by him, but Grant delivers the boom. It was all doom for the Raiders. Denver is going to the AFC Championship. Bo Nix is not Joel Embiid, guys. We actually can get out of the second round of the playoffs. And we did it in pretty dominant fashion. I mean, this game was never close. We were excellent at the very start of this game, and we did not let go of control. Now, granted, we did not outscore them in the second half. It was 7-7 after the break. But, I mean, we kind of took our pedal off the metal. We were focused on running the ball, chewing the clock. I think Bo Nix only threw the ball like 3 or 4 times in the second half because he didn't need to. It was all about running the ball. Very successful season, though, for the Raiders, despite the loss. And kind of based on the body language for the Raiders, it did kind of feel like they were happy to be here. I don't mean that like meanly, as in like they didn't want to win this game. Obviously, they wanted to win this game. Obviously, they wanted to win the Super Bowl. But they know it was a successful year for them. And the question is how they're going to be able to build on it. I'll tell you what, I'm confident they'll be able to build upon it well with this guy at quarterback, Jalen Daniels. Bo Nix had a good game. Again, we didn't need a whole lot out of him. He was very quiet in the second half because we were up by so much. Daniels wasn't great. He wasn't awful, but he certainly could have done more early. They could not really run the ball while our run game was absurd. 10 for 114 for Genty and 11 for 64 from Trey Henderson. And this might sound a little bit bold, but I feel like this Broncos team needs 2 things to go their way. And if these 2 things can go their way, they should be the favorites for the Super Bowl. And that's the offensive skill position players being healthy and the defense playing well. And I feel like those 2 things have never happened for us in unison until right now. The skill guys are healthy. Ashton Genty's healthy and looks good. Marvin Mims is healthy and he looks good. As for the defense, we've allowed 24 points through our first 2 playoff games against 2 of the very best offenses in the NFL. The pass rush was great. I think we had 6 sacks, 2.5 for Benito. Ojolari, obviously, with the big strip sack. And we're not relying on turnovers. We only forced 1 in this game. That shows that our defensive production is sustainable. And as I said, our offensive skill guys are healthy and the defense is playing well. And with those 2 things in unison, we have as good of a chance as anybody to win the Super Bowl. But we need these 2 things to continue to happen. And what I find funny is our peak of the year was right after the bye week. Beat the Bengals at home, beat the Raiders at home, beat the Chiefs at home. So far in the playoffs, beat the Bengals at home, beat the Raiders at home. You know, if the Chiefs beat the Bills, it would be at home, which would be really funny. I would love to get another lick at the Chiefs after they scored nearly 50 back in Week 17. But I'd also love to play against the Bills again, especially on the road, because they beat us in their building last year in the second round. The Bills have been so close so many times. They've been the best team in the regular season in the AFC throughout this series, but they've never been able to get over the hump. Is this the year, or will we be getting Kansas City for a third time? Find out in the next one. Peace out.